California, the birthplace of skateboarding. Handmade skateboards made from roller skates to what we see today. This is where it all began. California has always had a special place in our heart. With numerous friends and multiple organizational partners, not to mention the heart of the surf and skate culture all in one place, what's not to love? But with our headquarters based on the other side of the United States, most of the time, California feels like it's on the other side of the world. We received a call with an invitation to partner alongside a large citywide outreach effort taking place in the Los Angeles area. The mission was to mobilize leaders and to blanket LA County with volunteer efforts, each serving in different ways. From back-to-school events, medical clinics, to aid distribution, the goal was to show love to the community of LA like they had never experienced. We accepted the invitation, and as a result, we did what we knew best. We brought skateboards. Romans 10:17 tells us, faith comes from hearing and hearing through the word. The vision for Right Nature is that every individual within the action sports community will have the chance to see, hear, and respond to the good news of Jesus.
I was a punk skater in the middle of a small town in Wyoming, and this youth pastor sees me walking across the park with my skateboard one day, and he comes up to me, complete cold call, and says, "Hey dude, you want to come to church? There's free pizza and dodgeball. It'll be sweet." And I said, "Man, I don't believe in God, but free pizza and dodgeball, I can believe in that. I'll be there." And that little moment changed everything and saved my life.
Age 15, I get in trouble. My punishment is to go to a church on a Wednesday night. I didn't know churches were open on Wednesday nights. And I go into this place reluctantly. I walked away from that night with a little bit of hope that there was something out there and actually knew who I was and cared for me. It wasn't enough to keep me from living life on my own terms, but it was enough that in God's perfect timing, I would be reminded of those words.
Our goal was to host 15 events in 5 days. So the more skaters that we could reach in those few days we were in California, the better. It seemed ambitious, and quickly the reality of what we had committed to began to set in.
Later on, I moved to Los Angeles and got to see the skate community out here, and even the kids that we met this week here in LA. You think about all their different stories and their questions of why does God let, bad things happen. And I told them a story about my great-grandfather who traveled across Europe from Bulgaria all the way to England to get on a ship and come to America, this new amazing life in America. His dream come true. And he made this journey, and he got to the docks, and he was missing one paper, one document, and they wouldn't let him on the boat. And I think about how I would feel. God, how could you do this? This was going to be so good for me. How could you let this happen if you loved me? But what he didn't know was that that ship would sink, because it was the Titanic. My brother went and tracked down some family in Bulgaria a few years ago and found the actual itinerary and ticket on the Titanic that he could never take.
At the age of 26, being in a very low place in my life, I had gotten a girl pregnant, and I did not know what to do with that or about that. But I remember the age of 15 years old, I remember this guy talking about that there was a God out there that loved me, and his name is Jesus. I was in my living room by myself thinking, there is a God, and his name is Jesus, and he's willing to forgive me, and he's willing to help me. That's when I learned the meaning of grace. When he took that situation and turned it into something beautiful. I ended up having a son. I ended up marrying the girl that I did get pregnant, and we've been married for 25 years. For 25 years, our lives have been about Jesus. And he just began to show me there's all these kids all around me that love to skateboard and love to surf. And I just started using those things as a way of sharing Jesus with these kids.
We're planting seeds, and a lot of these conversations we've had at these skate parks, like, we might never see the fruit of the seeds that we planted in these kids' hearts. But when I think back to this pastor that was walking across the park saying, hey, skater kid, come get free pizza and dodgeball at church, and how that changed everything in my life, I just get excited about what God is doing that we will never know.
Maybe next week, maybe 5 years from now, maybe on their deathbed, they will come to remember those words, that there is a God that loves them unconditionally and sacrificially, and his name is Jesus.
11 years had passed from the first time that Julio heard the gospel until he finally responded and surrendered his life to the Lord. And the disappointment Lane's grandfather must have felt until he realized the fate and disaster that he avoided. Many times, we don't understand the ways that God works, but hearing these stories has encouraged us when we didn't see the evidence of the fruit for the work that we were leading. We are comforted by the reminder that our job is not to save, but to share. As believers, we are all a part of the body of Christ, each serving a unique role and purpose for the greater good, while building one another up in love. We might not always understand the process, the why or the how, but we can rest knowing that God is in control and he is working. For us, it was through skateboarding. For others, it was homeless ministry or food distribution. The collective efforts invested that week, we believe, ignited a flame that will change the city of LA, begin to inspire the rest of the nation, and shift our conversations from what divides us to what brings us all together. That there is a God, he loves us, and his name is Jesus.